National Tests in Swedish for Immigrants, a film from Sfis Komvux in Falun. The Swedish National Agency for Education is responsible for all national tests in Sweden. They have been given this responsibility by the Swedish government. The University of Stockholm creates the test for SFI, which is the municipal level adult education for people taking Swedish for immigrants. Many students at SFI wonder, when is it time for me to take the national test? The short answer to this question is at the end of the course. It is therefore important for you to know when the end of the course is for you. Your course will begin, and then you will have a number of weeks of study time, and then your course will come to an end. However, the length of the course is different from person to person. After many years of experience, the SFI teachers have created a course with an approximate length of time for students to learn the material. Some students will need a little less or a little more time. In order to provide students with a solid foundation of the Swedish language, the SFI courses will cover a number of different study areas, where you will practice and learn Swedish in different ways. After you have completed the various units throughout the course, there will be a test for students to show their understanding and knowledge of the Swedish language. For example, your course could work like this. Study the housing unit and then take a test. Study the working life unit and then take a test. Study the health system unit and then take a test. And study the everyday life in Sweden unit and then take a test. During the entire course, it is important that your language skills get better and better. You will show this through your test results, but also by participating actively in the lessons. When your teacher feels that you have enough Swedish language skills to proceed to the next course, they will give you the opportunity to write the national test. The national test can only be taken once for each course. Attending SFI is like walking along a path. People will walk along the path at different speeds and therefore reach the end goal at different times. The week before the national test. About 1 week before the test, your SFI teachers will announce which students are going to take the national test. If you will not be writing the national test at this time, you will get your chance later on. For those who will be writing the national test, you will receive a letter from the Swedish National Agency for Education, which will provide information about the national test in your native language. The letter will explain the date, time, and location for the national test. The day of the national test. On the day of your national test, it is very important that you arrive on time. We suggest that all students arrive to their national test 30 minutes before the test should begin. If you are not seated in your assigned seat once the test begins, then you will not be allowed to enter the test. This means you will need to wait for the next opportunity to write the national test. When writing the national test, you may only use a pencil and an eraser. You cannot use your cell phone or bring extra papers from home. This is considered cheating when writing the national test. If you cheat during the test, then you will be banned from furthering your studies at SFI. During the national test, your teachers will explain what you are to do, but they cannot help you with the test. For example, they cannot explain to you what a word means. Each part of the national test will have an allotted amount of time. Therefore, it is important that you keep track of the time and pace yourself accordingly. To make sure that all students understand the assignments in the writing and speaking portions of the national test, your SFI teacher will read the assignments out loud before the test officially begins. The national test consists of many parts. Depending on which course you are in, each part of the national test will require different lengths of time, and therefore the overall national test will require different lengths of time. There is a national test for courses B, C, and D. Students can write the national test for each course at the end of the course, which is when your teacher feels that you are ready for it. All national tests consist of the same parts. The test will assess your knowledge in reading, writing, speaking, and listening to Swedish. Different courses have different amounts of reading, writing, speaking, and listening assignments on the national test. Writing the national test takes a long time. For courses B and C, it takes approximately 4.5 hours to write the test. For course D, it takes approximately 5 hours to write the test. Sometimes all parts of the test are written on one single day. Other times, the test is split into smaller sections and written over 2 days. It is important for students to remember that a national test cannot test all of the units covered throughout the course. The information you learn and the skills you show during the lessons are at least equally as important as what comes up on the national test. The purpose of the national test. The national test makes sure that all students throughout Sweden are given the same chance for a fair grade. The SFI teachers will compare your work during lessons and tests with your results from the national test. This gives SFI teachers feedback on whether they are teaching the appropriate information and subjects to their students. The national test will not test everything. The knowledge you will receive from SFI will give you a foundation in the Swedish language. It will help you navigate your everyday life, the Swedish society, and your work life with the hopes that you won't need a translator. Again, it is important for students to remember that a national test cannot test all of the units covered throughout the course. The information you learn and the skills you show during the lessons are at least as equally important as the national test. This is why each SFI course covers many different units. For example, during your SFI courses, you will learn about housing, family life, relationships, working life, everyday life, your health, democracy, and communications in Sweden. The aim is for all students to gain as much Swedish language skills as possible before ending their course. We want you to leave SFI with a huge suitcase filled with knowledge instead of a tiny backpack that doesn't support you in Swedish society. Since the national test will not test you on all the units covered in the SFI course, it is therefore important that you attend the entire course so that you can get the necessary foundation you need. Grading of the national test. Your SFI teachers will receive different resources to assess your knowledge. The listening and reading tests have an answer key that shows the teacher the correct answers. All speaking tests are recorded so that your teachers can listen to it later on as many times as they need and with other teachers who can help in giving you a grade. For the speaking and writing tests, your teachers will receive examples from the Swedish National Agency for Education. These examples show what is considered good or bad Swedish. For your assessment to be fair, there will always be 2 or 3 teachers who mark your national test together. This is also to ensure that all national tests are marked in the same way for all students. Your results from each part of the test will be combined together to create one final grade. Final grade. When an SFI teacher decides your final grade, they will consider how well you have worked and participated during your lessons. The teacher will also consider the results from all of your tests during the course. These unit tests are at least as important as the national test. Your final grade in the course can either be higher or lower than the final grade you received on the national test itself. From all of us at SFI Komvux Falun, we wish you good luck.